I don't know that specific feeling, but I do know
it's almost, it feels like you forgot to turn the stove off, but you don't know where the stove is, and you don't know what off means, and you don't know where your house is. But that stove is on somewhere.
that's much. That is much. Oh. Well, this stove, we're going to get this stove.
All right.
This stove we're going to get.
All right.
All
right. I mean, like, I'm hyperbole, but not really. So.
Oh, I feel you.
So yeah. Welcome to the TCAT 10-minute take. It is I, your host, Sheree L. Stewart, and with me, as always, is my intrepid co-host, Don, the man, the myth, the legend, Chambers, in his plain gray t-shirt.
Listen, when you're at the beach, keep it simple.
On the Isle of virtual Hawaii.
Yes, virtual. Being the operative word.
It's been a minute, but we're here and we're talking about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yes.
Acronym MOM. Keep that in mind, because maybe it means something, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe it was intentional, maybe it wasn't.
Probably not.
Probably not. Probably so, though. Could you never know? I mean, listen. No, probably not. But anyway. Not. Before we get started, make sure you click that subscribe button and you click the bell to get all the notifications for the 10-minute takes when they drop, because they do drop irregularly. They have IBS. So here we go.
Irregular bowel syndrome.
They are not regular.
They are not regular.
They drop when they drop. Sometimes they're hot.
Coming in steaming.
But as always, I will let you go first.
Yes.
Go.
Boom. Okay. Whew. I got a lot of words for this, but I'm going to condense them down and keep it in my 5 minutes this time. Okay. I'm going to say this movie, for me, is the very first Marvel swing and a miss. Totally misses the mark for me. I don't think it pushes this next phase forward in any way. I don't even know how it necessarily ties into it besides dealing with the multiverse. But right now, here's where I think it misses. I think it misses in, spoiler alert, in its making its bad guy, Wanda, again, still kvetching over not having these kids. I'm like, I thought we went through this with her own whole series, and it ended with her dealing with the Darkhold, that book, and I thought we were going to deal with it more of her turning into the Scarlet Witch, rather than it just be another angst-filled, I want some kids type of deal, which we went through. And then the other part of this is you could have still used her as being controlled by the Darkhold, and maybe it is using her to seek some sort of control over the multiverse, not necessarily for her to again want to have these kids, but just in terms of a control. But that's on to the bigger issue of the story being about that, and that being Wanda wanting these kids, and kind of like nothing else. Like they wasted a whole multiverse possibilities. Like I thought we were going to go to a bunch of different worlds and see different characters as to what they possibly could have been. And I think initially it shows them crashing through a lot of different worlds. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I hope we get to go back there or there or there. But I think we go to two worlds, and they're two worlds that looked fairly normal-ish. The biggest thing on one world was they go on red. I'm like,
and
really?
They have pizza balls, which look delicious.
Right. I was like,
I'm here for pizza balls.
That's it. I mean, we saw like two different Doctor Stranges. we didn't get any of the rumored different kind of character possibilities that, I mean, there were numerous. Um, we did see the Illuminati. Okay. We got to see them. Again, spoiler alert, we did see Patrick Stewart's Professor X. He did come out in his little animated series sort of chair. We
Yeah, the
did
full
see,
body Christopher Pike
yeah,
car chair.
we did see John Krasinski, I'm probably destroying his last name,
That's close
as
enough.
Reed Richards in Fantastic Four. I'm like, freaking awesome, very cool. But like the Illuminati got dispatched in like 3 minutes. I mean, just gone. So they didn't stick around. Like no real interesting interactions happened with them. It was okay. And then the girl, this America Chavez girl, I'm like, is what? I'm like, okay, but what's more? This, is there anything more to this girl besides a power that she says she can't control?
I mean,
And that's it. I'm like, okay, you could have randomly given that to anybody, or not even. Like, look,
you got 1 minute left. Where would you put it?
okay, all I'm gonna say is this: story wise, what they should have done is literally picked it up right after the Spider-Man movie, in which Doctor Strange opened up the multiverse. And there should be rifts. There should have been things happening from that. You could have easily brought in Kang. I mean, we had him waiting for this, and you could have made it something about Doctor Strange simply still trying to reverse what he did and make it whole. Easiest and best story there. Me personally, I got to say, I'm not giving this. If I had to give this a number rating, this is like a 5, maybe a 6 if I'm feeling generous. I would not go see this opening night. Find a Tuesday or Wednesday matinee just so you can kind of see what they did with this. If this moves you, eh. To me, the only thing that kind of made me chuckle or smile was the Bruce Campbell part in there. It had a definite, Evil Dead 2 callback. Nobody else in the theater really got it, besides me and my wife.
Those damn kids.
Yeah. But man, this movie, I was like, I don't know where.
Okay. I don't disagree with any of that. However, I will say this. I love the storytelling, but I didn't like the story. How about that?
Okay.
Like, if this was not a Marvel movie, if this had nothing to do with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, had nothing to do with anything that came before it, it was just a movie about, they all had different names. It was just like a movie, a one-off movie that had nothing to do with anything. I would have really dug this movie. Like, it had the right mixture of like horror and humor and like magic and mystery, and like it was a well put together movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now the story and the script and when everything came before it made it into kind of a steaming pile, because one, it undid, like you said, it undid everything that WandaVision set out to do. Her entire story arc meant nothing because she's back where she was. She learned her lesson and grew and was working on it. Like it just completely put that in the trash. And the only reason that even slightly maybe worked a little bit is because Elizabeth Olsen is a fantastic actress who's better than this. Like you bought it because of her, not because of what it was. And it was frustrating and infuriating because she deserves a better movie than that. A better story for Wanda, and to go out in a much better way for this character that has been through far too much bullshit, pardon my French, to end like this, not like this, not like this. So, I mean, yeah. Then we have Doctor Strange, who's apparently across multiverses, which yes, but no, is pining for Christine, who in this MCU iteration of Doctor Strange, they barely had a relationship for him to be doing all of this. Like, I get that that's the thing, but that hasn't been our thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like they were already broken up and kind of over it when we did Doctor Strange 1. Like it's not like she was ever, I mean, she was important to him, but not presented as like a world-ending love of his life. Like it was never given to us this way. So now we're supposed to believe this. And then, you know, we've got Sinister Strange already in the, if you watch the What If series. So they're just kind of like bringing in a little bit of these elements. I liked it as far as like if I hadn't already seen it. You know what I'm saying? And I like Zombie Strange. Like I thought that was hilarious. But they did a real disservice to America Chavez. Like she's supposed to be this character who has, I mean, even if they wanted to do the story that they did where she doesn't know how to control her powers yet and whatever, they did the biggest sin that movies and shows do with characters who have an inexplicable power that they don't understand is they didn't ramp up her ability to use it. Like they just went from I can't do this to like one pep talk flips the switch and suddenly she's an expert at all things her power. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that's all it took to get her to figure out how to use it was a pep talk from Zombie Strange.
Yeah.
Like it didn't make any sense and she was basically a glorified MacGuffin. Like she was literally just the briefcase from Pulp Fiction. Like she's just the thing that they're there to chase around and run around. Like she didn't have a fully developed character. And I felt like that actress was better than that. Like she deserved better than that. And Rachel McAdams deserved better than that. Like everybody in this movie was too good for this story. And Sam Raimi is too fucking good for this movie. Like everybody who's involved in this movie is too good for this script. How about that? Like
the script
has
was
nothing
just
like this, like the directing was great, like the cameos were great, the acting was great, the set pieces were great, even though they were limited. I would have liked, like you said, one of the issues was this movie came at a weird time because initially it was supposed to be before Spider-Man. So even though we're watching Spider-Man thinking, oh, this is going to be the logical next step, it had nothing to do with the events of Spider-Man No Way Home. Even so far as Wong and Doctor Strange knew who Peter Parker was. Like they didn't not know him. So I don't know if technically this is before that, or maybe that spell didn't work on them like the way when Strange did that memory spell before, he still had the memories of whatever that party was, like the throwaway joke. And so they didn't pull in anything, and they were shot at the same time. So they didn't know what was happening necessarily in Spider-Man enough to pull it into this movie to make this. But if they wanted it to just, they should have committed either way. Commit to it being before Spider-Man, and just because it came out after, we would be okay with that. We watched Captain Marvel, and that took place in the 90s. Like, just commit to it.
Because like, there is a line where they talk about the Spider-Man thing that happened, but it was almost like a throwaway line.
It was a throwaway line, but they knew who he was.
Yeah.
So that would make me feel like maybe this took place before.
Could be.
But they just didn't commit to it either way. You know what I'm saying? And so it felt weird where if this was after Spider-Man, the events of Spider-Man should have impacted it more. If it's before Spider-Man, we didn't really get a sense of that either. So they tried to walk the line of that weirdness in the timeline. And either way would have been fine if there was commitment. It was too wishy-washy. And then they didn't bring in any of the stuff with Kang and the multiverse, which is right there. And then I'm just still so mad about Wanda, and I get it. She lost her parents, she lost her brother, she killed all those people, then she lost Vision and had to kill him, and then had to watch him be killed a second time, and all of it's for nothing. And then out of all of the multiverses, she's the only Wanda that doesn't have the kids, which effing sucks. After all she's been through, she's the only one that doesn't get the kids. I get that. It sucks. It's traumatic. However, we've already gotten this story arc from her, and we've already resolve this for her, and for this regression to then be her swan song essentially is unforgivable, because this character deserves so much better than to rehash this nonsense and to be, I mean, and she's great at it. Don't get me wrong, but the fact that, I mean, even if it was what you said and it was 100% the Darkhold taking over her, this still would have been, and then her having to battle it back. If it was that movie, like, that would have been more fitting.
It would have made more sense.
It would have made more sense than to have that be this hero's second fall.
Yeah.
Over the same thing, which, I mean, so yeah, it's a great exercise in storytelling and movie making if you just divorce it from everything else. So yeah.
So what would you give it?
I put it at a matinee. I saw it at a matinee, and it was fine. Like, I was just like, okay, if I had paid opening ticket price, I would have been annoyed. Honestly, it's almost worth just waiting for it to come out in the red box. It's not a bad movie though. Like, that's the thing that fucking sucks, is they had all the right pieces and all the right things in place. It's just then they made the wrong story. Like, I don't know why.
The story will always get you.
Everything was right there. Like, WandaVision was there. Kang was there. Spider-Man was there. Like, all of these things that came before were right there. And all they had to do was do the next thing. Why do something? Why not do the next thing? Like, I don't understand. It felt like this script was written before everything. Before Spider-Man, before WandaVision, before the Loki series. Like, this script was written before all of those, and then they didn't change the script.
Which
like,
sucks.
That's what it felt like.
Which sucks. They definitely should have done the next thing. And the next thing for all of you out there, subscribe, hit the bell. See, I'm all about transitions. You got to transition. So subscribe, hit the bell, so you always be notified when new 10-minute takes come up. Also, don't forget, we've got our own website, tcatnetwork.com, which has links to all of our audio links on Apple Podcasts, as well as Stitcher, and as well as all of our links here on YouTube. You also get links to Good Morning Antioch and The Reading. So it's tcatnetworks.com. You can either go there or come right here, straight to YouTube. Subscribe, hit the bell. That way you'll know. That way you're in the loop. Next one, I'm not sure what it's going to be. I know we're definitely going to do that Everything and Everywhere for sure. But then Top Gun Maverick, that's also going to be an absolute definite. Make sure you're subscribed for when that one drops. I cannot wait. So, till next time, see ya.